Thus I have heard, once Sakyamuni Buddha was at Potalaka Mountain, in the treasure-adorned way place in Avalokitesvara's palace, sitting on a precious lion throne adorned in purity with countless multifarious mani jewels. Hundreds of precious streamers and banners were hanging all around. At that time, the Tathagata, who was sitting on his throne, intending to explain a teaching of the total retention Dharani, was along with innumerable Bodhisattva Mahasattvas, whose names are Dharani King Bodhisattva, Treasure King Bodhisattva, Vaishajya Raja, Medicine King Bodhisattva, Vaishajya Samudgata Medicine Superior Bodhisattva, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, Mahastama Prapta, Great Strength Bodhisattva, Avatamsaka Bodhisattva, Great Sublime Bodhisattva, Precious Deposits Bodhisattva, Virtue Store Bodhisattva, Vajragarbha Bodhisattva, Akasagarbha, Space Store Bodhisattva, Maitreya Bodhisattva, Samantabhadra, Universal Goodness Bodhisattva, Manjushri Bodhisattva, and so on. Such Bodhisattva Mahasattvas are all great Dharma princes who had been empowered through their crowns. The Buddha was also along with innumerable great voice hearers, Shravakas, all of whom were practicing the 10th stage of Arhat, headed by Mahakashyapa. He was also along with innumerable gods of Brahma heaven, headed by Sinza Brahma. Also along with him were innumerable gods of heavens of the desire realm, headed by Gopaka god. Also along with him were innumerable four guardian gods, headed by Dhritarashtra. Also along with him were innumerable gods, dragons, yakshas, gandharvas, asuras, garudas, kinnaras, mahoragas, human beings, amanusyas, headed by heavenly virtue great dragon king. Also along with him were innumerable goddesses of heavens of the desire realm, headed by virginal eye goddesses. Also along with him were innumerable sunyatas, gods of spaces, gods of rivers and oceans, gods of fountains and spring, gods of stream and pond, gods of herb, gods of forest, gods of houses, gods of water, gods of fire, gods of earth, gods of wind, gods of ground, gods of mountains, gods of rocks, gods of palaces, and so on. They all came and gathered in the congregation. At that time in the congregation, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva secretly emitted his sacrosanct light. Thereupon, the worlds in the 10 directions, along with this 3,000 great thousand worlds system, were all illuminated and became golden. Heavenly palaces, palaces of dragons, and palaces of all gods were all shaken. Rivers, oceans, iron ring mountains, Kakravata Parvata, Sumeru mountains, earth mountains, and black mountains were also shaken. The light of suns, moons, pearls, fire, and constellations all disappeared. Witnessing this rare scene, Dharani King Bodhisattva was more surprised than ever before, so he arose from his seat, joined his palms, and asked the Buddha with a Gatha,
"Who achieved the correct awakening today, emitting such great bright light universally? The worlds of the 10 directions are all golden, so do these 3,000 great thousand worlds. Who attained the ultimate freedom today, manifesting the rare great holy power? Innumerable Buddha worlds are shaken, so do palaces of dragons and gods." Now the entire congregation is wondering, not knowing whose power caused these. Is he a Buddha, Bodhisattva, or great voice hearer, or a Brahman, demon, heavenly god, or Sakra? We pray for the Bhagavan's great compassion, to tell us the source of this great supernatural power.
The Buddha told Dharani King Bodhisattva,
"Virtuous man, you all should know that in this congregation there is a Bodhisattva Mahasattva named Avalokitesvara, the Unrestricted One. He had achieved the great kindness and great compassion since uncountable kalpas before, and he excels at practicing countless 30 gates. In order to comfort and please all living beings, he secretly emits such great sacrosanct power."
After the Buddha said that, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva arose from his seat, tidied up his clothes, joined his palms towards the Buddha, and said,
"Bhagavan, I have a mantra of great compassionate heart Dharani, and now wish to proclaim it, for comforting and pleasing all living beings, for healing all illness, for living beings to attain additional lifespan, for living beings to gain wealth, for extinguishing all evil karma and weighty sins, for keeping away from hindrance and disasters, for producing merits of all white, pure dharmas, for maturing all virtuous roots, for overcoming all fears, for fulfilling all good wishes. Bhagavan, please be merciful and allow me to speak."
The Buddha said,
"Virtuous man, you have great kindness and great compassion. In order to comfort and please all living beings, you wish to speak the holy mantra. It is the proper time now. Please speak it soon, The Tathagata approves and rejoices it, and so do all Buddhas.
Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva then said to the Buddha,
Bhagavan, I remember that. Countless billions of kalpas ago, a Buddha, whose name was Thousand Rays King, stillness thus come one, appeared in the world. Because of his mercy and mindfulness towards me and all living beings, that Buddha, the world-honored one, spoke this vast, perfect, unimpeded, great compassionate heart Dharani, rubbed my crown with his golden hand and said, Virtuous man, you should hold this heart mantra, to give great benefit and happiness, to all living beings in the future evil age. At that time I was just at the first bhumi stage of Bodhisattva. Right after hearing this mantra, I exceeded the 8th bhumi. At that time, as my heart was joyful, I vowed, if I will be able to give benefit and happiness to all living beings in the future, let me have 1,000 hands and 1,000 eyes immediately. Instantly after the vow, I got fully 1,000 hands, and 1,000 eyes on my body. Then, the grounds of the worlds of the 10 directions quaked in 6 ways. Thousands of Buddhas of the 10 directions emitted their light to my body and illuminated boundless worlds of the 10 directions. From then on, from countless Buddhas and congregations, I have repeatedly heard, accepted and held this Dharani, and the joys were also repeatedly aroused from my heart, and made me greatly enthusiastic. Therefore, I transcended imperceptible births, and deaths of countless billions of kalpas. Since then, I have always been reciting, and holding this mantra, and have never forgotten it. Because of holding this mantra, I was always born by miraculous creation from lotuses in front of Buddhas, and have never been born from any womb. If there are monks, bhikshus, nuns, bhikshunis, laymen, upasakas, lay women, upasikas, pure youth and maidens who wish to recite and hold this mantra, they should first arouse their great merciful and compassionate hearts for all living beings, and follow me in making these vows. Namo Great Compassionate Avalokitesvara, may I quickly know all dharmas. Namo Great Compassionate Avalokitesvara, may I soon obtain the wisdom I. Namo Great Compassionate Avalokitesvara, may I quickly ferry all living beings to the shore of liberation. Namo Great Compassionate Avalokitesvara, may I soon obtain virtuous skillful means to enlighten various living beings. Namo Great Compassionate Avalokitesvara, may I quickly board the prajna boat. Namo Great Compassionate Avalokitesvara, may I soon transcend the ocean of suffering. Namo Great Compassionate Avalokitesvara, may I quickly achieve precepts, samadhi and the way. Namo Great Compassionate Avalokitesvara, may I soon ascend the mountain of nirvana. Namo Great Compassionate Avalokitesvara, may I quickly dwell in the house of non-action. Namo Great Compassionate Avalokitesvara, may I soon unite with the Dharma nature body. If I go towards the mountain of knives, the mountain of knives of itself breaks up. If I go towards the boiling oil of itself dries up. If I go towards the hells of themselves disappear. If I go towards the hungry ghosts of themselves become full. If I go towards the asuras, their evil thoughts of themselves are tamed. If I go towards the animals, they themselves attain great wisdom. After making these vows, recite my name, Namo Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva with a deep-felt sincere heart. Also recite single-mindedly the name of my teacher, Amitabha, Tathagata, Namo Amitabha, then recite this mantra 5 times or more in a day, to remove from the body the weighty sins of births and deaths accumulated in hundreds of thousands of billions of kalpas.
Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva then said to the Buddha,
Bhagavan, if humans or gods recite and hold the phrases of the great compassion Dharani, when they are about to die, all the Buddhas of the 10 directions will come to receive them with their hands, and they will be reborn in whichever Buddha world according to their wishes.
Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva continued to say to the Buddha,
Bhagavan, should any living being who recites and holds the holy mantra of great compassion fall into the 3 evil paths, I vow not to achieve the correct awakening. Should any living being who recites and holds the holy mantra of great compassion not be reborn in any Buddha world, I vow not to achieve the correct awakening. Should any living being who recites and holds the holy mantra of great compassion not obtain unlimited samadhis and eloquence, I vow not to achieve the correct awakening. Should any living being who recites and holds the holy mantra of great compassion not obtain whatever he seeks in his present life, then it cannot be called the Dharani of the great compassionate heart, unless it is used by those who are not virtuous or not completely sincere. If a woman dislikes her female body and wishes to become a male, if she recites the phrases of the great compassion Dharani but cannot change from a female to a male, I vow not to achieve the correct awakening. However, if she arouses even a slightest doubt, her wish will not be satisfied. If any living being usurps the drinks, foods, or possessions of Sanghas, even though 1,000 Buddhas appear in the world, he will not get to repent and reform. Even if he repents, his sins will not be eliminated. But now, by reciting this great compassion holy mantra, his sins will be eliminated. If anyone usurps, eats, or uses the drinks, foods, or possessions of Sanghas, he must repent to teachers of the 10 directions to eliminate his sins. Now, when he recites this great compassion Dharani, the teachers of the 10 directions will come to bear witness, and then all his weighty sins and hindrances will be eliminated. All evil karma and weighty sins, such as the 10 evil deeds, the 5 rebellious sins, slandering people, slandering the dharmas, breaking the abstinent precepts, breaking other precepts, destroying stupas, wrecking temples, stealing properties of Sanghas, and profaning Brahma practices, can be completely eliminated by reciting this Dharani. Except this, if one has doubts about this Dharani, then even his small sins and light karma cannot be eliminated, not to mention the weighty sins. Although the weighty sins do not disappear immediately, the reciting can still be the cause of Bodhi in the future.
Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva continued to say to the Buddha,
People and gods who recite and hold the great compassionate heart Dharani will obtain 15 kinds of good birth, and will not suffer 15 kinds of bad death. The bad deaths are: they will not die of starvation or poverty. They will not die from having been yoked, imprisoned, caned or otherwise beaten. They will not die at the hands of hostile enemies. They will not be killed in military battle. They will not be killed by tigers, wolves, or other fierce beasts. They will not die from the venom of poisonous snakes, black serpents, or scorpions. They will not drown or be burned to death. They will not be poisoned to death. They will not be killed by mediumistic insects. They will not die of madness or insanity. They will not be killed by landslides or falling trees. They will not die of nightmares sent by evil people. They will not be killed by deviant spirits or evil ghosts. They will not die of evil illnesses that bind the body. They will not commit suicide. Those who recite and hold the great compassion holy mantra will not suffer any of these 15 kinds of bad death, and will obtain the following 15 kinds of good birth. Their place of birth will always have a good king. They will always be born in a good country. They will always be born at a good time. They will always meet virtuous friends. The organs of their body will always be complete. Their hearts of Bodhi way will be pure and mature. They will not violate the prohibitive precepts. All their relatives will be kind and harmonious. They will always have the necessary wealth and goods in abundance. They will always obtain the respect and help of others. Their possessions will not be plundered. They will obtain everything they seek. Dragons, gods, and good spirits will always protect them. In the place where they are born they will see the Buddha and hear the Dharma. They will awaken to the profound meaning of that proper Dharma which they hear. Those who recite and hold the great compassionate heart Dharani will obtain these 15 kinds of good birth. All gods and people should constantly recite and hold it without laziness.
After saying that, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva joined his palms and stood upright in front of the congregation, aroused his great compassionate heart for all living beings, smiled, and in this way spoke the sacrosanct, wonderful phrases of the vast, perfect, unimpeded, great compassionate heart, great Dharani. The Dharani is
Om Namo Ratnatrayaya Namah Arya Avalokitesvaraya Bodhisattvaya Mahasattvaya Mahakarunikaya Sarvabandhana Chedanakaraya Sarvabhava Samudra Shoshanakaraya Sarvavyadi Prashamanakaraya Sarvedhyupatra Vinashanakaraya Sarvabhaishu Tranakaraya Tasmai Namaskritva Imam Aryavalokitesvara Bhashitam Nilakanthanam Hridayam Vartayishyami Sarvartha Sadhakam Shubham Ajeyam Sarvabhutanam Bhavamarga Vishodhakam Hridayam Ajeyam vartayishyami sarvartha sadhakam shubham Ajeyam sarvabhutanam bhavamarga vishodhakam Tadyatha Om aloka alokamati lokatikranta ehi Hare Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva He Bodhisattva He Mahabodhisattva He Virya Bodhisattva He Mahakarunika Smaridayam Ayyehi Hare Aryavalokitesvara Mahesvara Paramartha Chitta Mahakarunika Guru Guru Karma Sadhaya Sadhaya Vidyam Dehi Dehi Dwaram Kamam Gama Viham Gama Vigama Siddha Yogesvara Dhuru Dhuru Viyanta E Mahaviyanta E Dhara Dhara Dharendresvara Chala Chala Vimala Mala Aryavalokitesvara Jina Krishna Jatamakuta Avaram Param Viram Mahasiddha Vidyadhara Bala Bala Mahabala Malla Malla Mahamalla Chala Chala Mahachala Krishna Varna Dirgha Krishna Paksha Nirdhatana He Padmahasta Chara Chara Nishachareshwara Krishna Sarpakritta Yagyopavita Ayyehi Mahavaraha Mukha Tripura Dahaneshwara Narayana Balopabala Veshadhara He Nilakanta He Mahakala Halahala Vishnirjita Lokasya Raga Vishavinashana Dvesha Vishavinashana Moha Vishavinashana Hulu Hulu Malla Ulu Hare Mahapadmanabha Sara Sara Siri Siri Suru Suru Muru Muru Buddhaya Buddhaya Bodhaya Bodhaya Maitriya Nilakanta Ayyehi Vamasthita Simha Mukha Hasa Hasa Muccha Muccha Mahatattahasam Ayyehi Bho Mahasiddha Yogesvara Bhana Bhana Vacham Sadhaya Sadhaya Vidyam Smara Smaratam Bhagavantam Lokita Vilokitam Lokeshwaram Tathagatam Dadahi Me Darshana Kamasya Darshanam Prahaladaya Manaha Swaha Siddhaya Swaha Mahasiddhaya Swaha Siddha Yogeswaraya Swaha Nilakantha Swaha Varamukhaya Swaha Mahanarasimhamukhaya Swaha Siddha Vidyadharaya Swaha Padmahastaya Swaha Krishna Sarpakritta Yagyopavitaya Swaha Mahalakutadharaya Swaha Chakrayudhaya Swaha Shankha Sabda Nibodhanaya Swaha Vamaskandha Desha Sthita Krishna Jinaya Swaha Vyaghra Charma Nivashanaya Swaha Lokeswaraya Swaha Sarva Siddheswaraya Swaha Namo Bhagavate Aryavalokitesvaraya Bodhisattvaya Mahasatvaya Mahakarunikaya Siddhayantu Me Mantrapadani Swaha.
When Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva finished speaking this mantra, the earth shook in 6 ways. The heavens rained down precious flowers, which fell in colorful profusion. All the Buddhas of the 10 directions were delighted, while the heavenly demons and exterior paths practitioners were so frightened that their hair stood on end. Everyone in the congregation achieved different fruitions, including the fruitions of stream enterer, Srodapana, once returner, Sakardagaman, non-returner, Anagaman, and Arhat. Others achieved the first bhumi of Bodhisattva, the second bhumi, the third, fourth, fifth, and up to the 10th bhumi. Innumerable living beings aroused the Bodhi heart. Then the great Brahma heavenly king arose from his seat, tidied up his clothes, joined his palms respectfully, and said to Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva,
"How virtuous, Mahasattva! I had attended innumerable Buddha congregations and heard myriads of dharmas and dharnis, but never before had I heard such sacrosanct, wonderful phrases of the unimpeded Great Compassionate Heart's Great Compassion Dharani. Mahasattva, please tell us the feature and characteristics of this Dharani. All of us will be pleased to know that."
Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva told the Brahma king,
For the convenience of benefiting all living beings, you have asked me this question. Now you listen carefully, and I will tell you in brief.
Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva said,
It is the great merciful and compassionate heart, the impartial heart, the motionless heart, the unpolluted and unattached heart, the emptiness-observing heart, the respectful heart, the humble heart, the uncluttered heart, the non-view and non-grasping heart, and the uppermost Bodhi heart. You should know that such hearts are the feature and characteristics of this Dharani. You should practice according to them.
Then the great Brahma king said,
"We now know the feature and characteristics of this Dharani. From now on, we will recite and hold it and will never dare to forget or lose it."
Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva said,
If any virtuous men or virtuous women, who recite and hold this holy Dharani, can arouse the vast Bodhi heart that vow to ferry all living beings to the shore of liberation, keep the abstinent precepts bodily, arouse the heart of equality towards all living beings, keep reciting this Dharani without interruption, reside in a clean room, wash themselves clean, wear clean clothes, hang up streamers and light up lamps, make offerings with fragrances, flowers, vegetable foods of hundreds of tastes, make their hearts stay still at one place, do not think about others, and recite and hold this Dharani according to the Dharma, then, sunlight Bodhisattva, moonlight Bodhisattva and innumerable gods and immortals will come to bear witness and enhance the efficacy of their recitation. At that time, I will illuminate them with 1,000 eyes, and protect and support them with 1,000 hands. From then on, they will be able to master all worldly literature, and will perfectly understand all exterior paths, theories and sorceries, as well as the Veda scriptures. One who recites and holds this holy mantra can heal all the 84,000 kinds of diseases of the world, without exception. He also can command all ghosts and spirits, vanquish heavenly demons, and tame all exterior paths practitioners. If one is reading sutras or practicing dhyana in a mountain or a wild field, and some mountain spirits, various ghosts, demons, monsters or devas come to disturb and make him unable to concentrate, recite this mantra once, then all those ghosts and spirits will be tied up. If one can recite this mantra in accord with Dharma and arouse merciful and compassionate heart towards all living beings, I will then command all virtuous gods, dragon kings, and Vajra secret traces divinities to always follow and guard him, never leaving his side, guarding him as their own eyes and lives.
Then Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva said to the Gatha,
I command the Vajra secret traces knights, Akasma, Kundalin, Ankusa, and the 8 clans powerful knight Shankara, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command Mahesvaras, Narayana, Kumpiraba, and Kapila, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command Pajis, Sahasakas, perfect virtuous Chuds and Kimnaras, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command Sajamaharas, Kumbandas, Katabutanas, and Bandras, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command Bapagara kings, and morality Vidasaharas, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command Brahma King Sambra, the 5 clans of pure abode heavens and Yamarajas, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command Sakra Devanam Indra, the lord of the 33 heavens, Sarasvatis, and Vardhanas, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command Dhritarashtra king, Haritas, goddess and great strength gods, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command Viradaka king, Virapaksa king and Vajravana king, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command the golden peacock king, and the 28 clans of great immortals, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command Manabhadra, and Pankaka Imperator Phalava, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command Nanda, Upandanda, and the Sagara dragon king Ibra, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command the Asuras, Gandharvas, Karunas, Kimnaras, and Maharagas, to guard the mantra holders constantly. I command the gods of water, fire, thunder, lightning, Kumbanda king and Piakas, to guard the mantra holders constantly. Those virtuous gods, dragon kings and goddess, each along with 500 retinues of great strength Yaksas, will always follow, and guard the holders of the Great Compassion Holy Mantra. If the mantra holder dwells and sleeps alone, in an uninhabited mountain or wilderness, those virtuous gods will guard him by turns, to eliminate misfortunes. If the mantra holder loses his way deep in the mountain, because of reciting this mantra, the virtuous gods and dragon kings will transform themselves into virtuous people, and tell him the correct way. If the mantra holder lacks water or requires fire in a mountain, forest, or wilderness, the dragon kings will protect him by miraculously creating water and fire for him.
Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva then said a misfortune eliminating and refreshingly cool Gatha.
When walking in wilderness, mountain or marsh, if encountering tigers, wolves, or other fierce beasts, or snakes, spirits, demons, monsters, ghosts, they will be unable to harm the mantra holder when they hear this mantra. When voyaging on river or sea, poison dragons, flood dragons and makaras, yakshas, rakshas, fishes, and soft-shelled turtles will dodge when they hear this mantra. If besieged by battle arrays or robbers, or being robbed by villains, recite the Great Compassion Dharani sincerely, those villains will show mercy and go back. If one is imprisoned by government official, jailed, chained and locked, recite the Great Compassion Dharani sincerely, the officer will show mercy and set him free. If entered a house of a poisonous insects-raising family in a wild way, the family purpose to venom with drinks, foods or medicines, recite the Great Compassion Dharani sincerely, the poison will turn to nectar. When a woman is giving birth to a child, evil demons comes to obstruct the birth and causing suffering and oppressive pain, recite the Great Compassion Dharani sincerely. The demons will disperse, leaving a safe and comfortable birth. If evil dragons or pestilence ghosts spread poison, people are infected by pyrexia and about to die, recite the Great Compassion Dharani sincerely, diseases will be healed and lives of people will be lengthened. If evil dragons or ghosts spread the tumescent diseases, people suffer from carbuncles, sore, abscess, ulcer and bleeding, recite the Great Compassion Dharani sincerely. Then spit 3 times to the abscesses and it will be cured. If there are muddled and wicked living beings who aroused immoral minds, causing hatred by sending nightmares, ghosts and curses to you, recite the Great Compassion Dharani sincerely, then the hexes and evil spells will return to its original senders. When Dharma is about to disappear, the world is evil, feculent and disordered. People's sexual desire are like raging fire, their hearts are deluded and they confuse right and wrong. They have adulteries behind their spouses, and think of lust days and nights ceaselessly. If they can recite the Great Compassion Dharani sincerely, the fire of sexual desire will quench and the evil minds will extinguish. If I glorify the effect and power of this mantra in detail, even 1 kalpa is not enough for the glorification.